Come back since we have find out the total quantity for each invoice number. So we have to find out what is the top 10 orders for each invoice numbers. Okay, so the next step is how to find out the top 10 orders. Because we have find out the invoice number for each one. So we use this one, right? Here, invoice DF. We check this one, DF with this one. Okay, group by invoice number we have checked before, and we use the summation for the quantities. So because with this result, it did to sorting by the quantity, they only to sort by invoice number. But we have to change the sorting criteria with quantities. The first thing is we have to change the data type as data frame first, and we can see what is the column name for the data frame, only the quantities, right? Okay, so how to find out the top 10 orders? So we use this function, sort values. With this data frame, we use the sort value function. And what is the criteria for the sort? We use by quantities, because it used to be to sort by invoice number, but we have changed the criteria by sorting with quantities, and we use the ascending equal to false from the big to the small, and we only to show the first 10 records for the top 10 orders. Okay, so with this function, you guys are easy to find the top 10 orders. So the first top orders, the invoice number is this one. So what is the quantity for this order? It's more than 80,000, 8万多件. Okay, what is the second orders? 74,000, 74000多笔的资料. Okay, so you can list the 10 orders. So how about to find out the last 10 orders? Okay, if you can find the first 10 order by head, so you can use list function to, because I have talked before, head is to find out the first, right? So how about tail, T-A-I-L, tail? So you can find the last 10 orders. Okay, the quantity is only 1. Okay, so you know the answers for the question 14. Okay, so for the next, we are going to investigate by group, by customer. The first is we check the group by invoice number, and second one we have to check the group by customer ID. So we use the same function as the previous one. We use the quantity, and we group by customer ID instead invoice number, right? Our first group by function, we sort group by invoice number. And for this one, we want to check by customer ID, to subgroup by customer ID. Okay, and we save the result as this one, as group by customer ID. You may check this one, okay? It's a series group by object. And we use the same function to make the summation for the quantities. Okay, so you can find each customer's how many quantity they buy. For the customer ID 1, 2, 3, 46, this customer, he bought more than 74,000, 买了很多 okay? And also you can count how many transactions did the customer buy. For this one, for this customer, he only buy one transaction, but one time. What about the second one? He buy 182 times. Okay, so it's easy for you guys to do the first process, to do group by, and then you can do the summation with the quantity, and also to calculate how many transactions for each subgroup. So it's very easy, right? So you just to familiar with all the process, so you can apply for different subgroup. Okay, so we have to check this one, because this one, the customer ID is numericals, not string, so you can run this, so you get errors, so you didn't find anything, so you have to use these functions, because this one is numericals, so you can find the invoice number for this one. The start ID, the customer ID is 12346. This one, he buy only one transaction on the invoice number, and he buy the quantity for this one, quantities. Okay, so you can check with another one, 1, 2, 3, 47, this guy. So how many? Oh, it got 182 invoice number. So you may find here the second one, right? The count to calculate the invoice number for each customer. And then, okay, how do you to find out the top 10 oldest customers? You can do the same process as I did before to check the top 10 orders. So, okay, so go back to here. If you want to find the top 10 older customers, you make to check how to use this one, right? How to find the top 10 orders. You can copy this source code and go to here to find out my question for question 15. How to find out the top 10 older customers. So you have to find out, let me see. So you just replace, because we used to this one, right? So you just to change with the group one, this one, summation. Okay, I leave this question so you can solve this question by yourself. Okay, so we have to subgroup by invoice number, and we also group by the customer ID, and then we have to find out the subgroup for item, which is stock code. So you just replace with invoice number and customer ID with stock code, so you can find the subgroup for stock code. And I change the variable with group by stock code, so you can get the same functions with previous one. And we finally to find out the stock code, how many quantity they have been bought, count. Okay, for this stock code, the transaction for 49 times. You can doing the same things to to change the format to the DF stock code, and then you can do the same thing to sorting the stock code by quantities. Okay, so it's easy for you guys to find out the top 10 best sale product, right? So how do you find the last worst sale tails? You can use the ascending. It used to be ascending false, so you can use ascending true, or you can use ascending false with tail. You can get the same result for our question 16. Okay, and finally we have to find out the summation for the subgroup for country. So you can use the same function. We just replace with invoice number with country, so you can get the subgroup for each country. Summation for each country. Australia, United Kingdom. Okay, so you can find the top 10 best sale country regions. Okay, so you know the best sale country is United Kingdom. The second one is Northland, Holland. Okay, what about France? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth top sale is France. Okay, and then we have, okay, so so you can practice